All right. Hello, everybody. KVU Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with our nightly extended update on the forecast right here on KVU Plus and YouTube Live and all of our other streaming platforms. The things we want to talk about today. Number one, we got another update to our drought monitor. The huge progress that we saw was in last week's update, but we have some additional rain that was factored in. So another big reduction in drought across our area. I'll show you that. We'll do a lake level update, and then this really is not going to have a huge impact on our KVU area, but there's this weak tropical system out around Louisiana, and that could throw a little bit of extra moisture our way. Otherwise, increasingly, our forecast is looking more like just kind of classic mid to July stuff where it's more about the heat and only slim rain chances. And you know what? I think we will take that, still needing a big opportunity to dry out for much of our KVU area. And we're going to get that here, especially as we get into next week. This is a live view outside from our Zach Theater camera. The clouds that you're seeing on your screen, this is actually the far outermost moisture associated with that weak tropical system. It never formally became Dexter or a name storm or even a depression or anything like that, but it's having a little bit of a subtle impact on our forecast. I'll talk about that in a second. Again, numbers today with these rain chances going down, we're just starting to look and feel more like July. 96 was the high today for Mabry. Average is 97. The airport was slightly cooler, hit a 95 today. Okay, so I wanted to show you this drought monitor comparison. Again, last week is when we had that just massive reduction that factored in all of the rain that resulted in the tragic flooding across our area. This is what our drought monitor looked like, though, 3 weeks ago, back at the start of July. In Austin, we had severe drought, even east of I-35. We had some areas of moderate drought into places like Bastrop County. Fredericksburg, Gillespie County was dealing with extreme drought. Then down southern Gillespie County down into the Kerrville area, it was top level exceptional drought. So now let's swipe through 3 weeks and what we get to today. And look at that. We now basically have essentially no drought across the hill country. Here in our KVU areas, this yellow that's just what we call abnormally dry. Technically, it's not even drought. It's like a precursor to drought. And the only actual drought is this tan color here, which is moderate from southern Travis County down into Caldwell County into parts of Hayes County. Then you do get still into exceptional drought on the west and southwest side of San Antonio. But all this rain here in our area, obviously it caused just devastating, drastic flooding across our area. But also we're now looking at basically the eradication of drought across our area. This is the satellite radar picture right now. We do not have any rain from this little surge of tropical moisture coming in, but we do have cloud cover. Again, this is kind of wrapping around on what normally is the dry side of any tropical system. So if you're on the right-hand side, right, you're on they call it like the dirty side, the wetter side of the storm. But this system, it's so weak that it really doesn't have very defined circulation to it. So basically it's just a big pool of moisture, and it is transporting some of that into our area. Here's a closer look at this system. Basically, when we were looking at this a couple days ago, it initially was in the Atlantic and it crossed over the Florida Peninsula. And if it took a more southerly track and spent more time in the Gulf, well, it could have became a stronger system. What it did is it actually did the opposite. It hugged the northern side of the model guidance there, and that kept it interacting with a lot of land. So it never really got its act together, which is why it's still just an invest system. 93L is what it's called, but it never became a formal tropical system. And basically the center of it now is kind of swirling into Louisiana. So coastal Louisiana, even into parts of southeast Texas, there's probably going to be some heavy rain the next couple of days. But let's track this kind of tropical moisture. So again, this is not a well-defined system, but this is kind of the zone where you see those darker colors. That's the tropical moisture. As we go over the next day or two, you can see it spreads out a little bit. So the tropical moisture becomes more diffuse. Basically, it's not as deep. But some of this does start to work into our area. You start to see some of those colors, especially along and east of I-35. So I think we have just enough tropical moisture that we get some sort of a rain chance. The good news, though, is that the rain chances are primarily going to be in our eastern areas and not the hard-hit areas of the hill country where, the last thing we need is any more rain from a tropical system. I think this is mainly going to be in our eastern spots that are not saturated and did not get bad flooding the past couple of weeks, rather. For Friday, low clouds in the morning. Still mostly cloudy, a little gray by lunch, and then a mix of clouds and sunshine for the afternoon tomorrow. High temperature around 95 or so is what we have in the forecast for Austin. Low to mid 90s for most of us. Maybe a few areas slightly cooler as you get into the hill country. Just a 10% chance for a passing shower or a downpour, mainly in our eastern areas for the afternoon into the evening of Friday. I think Saturday is probably going to be our slightly better chance at rain, though. Here's the model data. So this is tomorrow morning, Friday morning at 8 a.m. It's humid, so we're going to have these low clouds, mid-70s. Then as we go into the afternoon, mix of clouds and sun. Model's picking up on some of that tropical moisture, but really keeps it out of our KVU area. But again, especially through the evening, I'm going to leave a 10% in our forecast in case anything tries to swirl through. Now, as we go Friday night into Saturday, small shower chance overnight, and then here Saturday in the morning, we go to the afternoon, and this is the type of stuff, again, where just some isolated showers and downpours try to bubble up because of that little push of tropical or that little push of Gulf moisture. So not a big deal, but again, that's just kind of the main feature in our forecast that we're tracking for you. So I'm going to bump us up to a 20% Saturday. With the clouds and rain around, I guess you'd call that slightly cooler. 94 for the high Saturday. Then Sunday, I think rain chances go away completely. Will be mostly sunny, and I have 96 degrees in our forecast for Sunday. The global models, so I showed you some of the high-res data. The global models really aren't picking up on any moisture at all Saturday, but you can see our rain chances over the next 5 days as we get Sunday into Monday, Tuesday, and I think this continues unless something changes in a pretty big way. I think all of next week is going to be completely dry. So obviously recovery, cleanup, still a lot of that going on, and it's going to be going on for a long time in the hill country. It's going to be hot next week, but it is going to be dry, and I have no concern for flooding in the forecast for next week. And this is the 7-day rainfall closer to where that system is kind of moving on shore. Some heavy rain here, coastal Louisiana, maybe even into parts of southeast Texas, but for us on that drier side of the system, and this will go down into areas to our west and southwest that have also had a lot of rain the past couple of weeks. I think this is going to be an opportunity where we just go back to kind of classic summer stuff, and we're not really worried about the flooding potential. Okay, I want to give you an update on the lake level situation. All of the floodgate operations from the LCRA, from the Lower Colorado River Authority, have ended, but Lake Travis still continues to rise a little bit through the day today. Current elevation at 673.85, so Lake Travis is now 88% full. You can see it's actually above what is considered typical for this time of the year, but it is not to full pool. Full pool for Lake Travis is 681. So we're within 10 feet. No, we're getting closer, but we're not yet considered full. Then remember, some folks have been pointing this out on Facebook, and this is definitely the case. So Travis is full at 681. Then there's a 33-foot flood pool that could take it up as high as 714. So there's still a lot of room in Lake Travis, but this number is amazing. In the past month, Lake Travis has now risen 35 feet. Just remarkable. Upstream, up the system for Lake Buchanan, this is where, for the first time since 2019, back a couple days ago, we had floodgates that were opened. At the peak, there were 4 floodgates open at Buchanan Dam. So Lake Buchanan is basically full right now. Full pool is 1020, so we're basically at it. So they're listing it at 100% full. Lake Buchanan, unlike Lake Travis, does not have a flood pool built into it. So 1020 is it, and then once you get past that, they start passing the water downstream, which is what happened a couple days ago. So Lake Buchanan, also about 7.5 feet above what is average for this time of the year, and its increase, again, it filled all the way up. So it would have gone up more than this, but they've passed those waters downstream. It has increased about 16.5 feet over the past 30 days. My forecast tonight, partly cloudy, 73. Tomorrow, mix of clouds and sunshine, 10% shower chance in the forecast, mainly in eastern areas. Most will stay dry, though, and there's no risk for flooding. High of 95 is in my forecast. On the 7-day, Saturday, again, it's a 20% rain chance. Not a flood threat, and the areas I think that have the best odds of seeing rain are not the areas in the hill country that are hard hit. So this is mainly east of I-35 Saturday, some tropical downpours. Sunday, mostly sunny, 96 is in the forecast. Monday, 97, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we get back upper 90s. I have some of the models that are printing out triple digits. I'm going to keep us at 98, 99 for now, but remember, we had those 2 triple-digit days back in the month of May, and since then, there was no triple-digit day in June. We have not had any triple digits in July with this very anomalous weather pattern that we've been experiencing, but something tells me we'll probably notch a triple-digit day at some point before we wrap up the month of July. But that's what we're tracking right now. We appreciate everybody joining us here on KVU Plus for our nightly extended update on the forecast. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then the next update from us is going to be KVU News at 10 o'clock. We'll have all the latest then. Y'all have a good night and stay safe.